Hi everyone, it's Bethany and Garrett. Welcome back to this book nook. I am an English-born, Kiwi-raised, Australian-living book reader, food eater, life Caesar. Every time I say that, I kind of cringe a little bit internally, but my brain cannot let go of the rhyme. Today, we are focusing more on the book reader side of things on this channel, as we do a good old-fashioned TBR. Quick little thing, I know a lot of people like to plan their TBRs as monthly. I do not, because I do not personally like the deadline of reading books by the end of a certain month. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 12 books, and these are just simply the first 12 books I have on my TBR for the year of 2025. 6 physical, 6 digital. I'm going to keep this as fluid and as fast as I can, because I do tend to ramble. But just to ramble for 30 more seconds, I do fully intend to bring back Real Choosers TBR. If you're an OG here, you will know exactly what I am talking about. It's my little TBR game I like to play. However, I do not currently have a spinning wheel, and so I'm going to order one. But for now, I've actually kind of accidentally collated this TBR pile, so we're just going to go with it. Without further ado, like I said, I'm going to stop rambling. Let's get into it. Alright, first from the pile of library books, we have Ali Hazelwood's Love Theoretically. This is technically, I believe, the second book in a duology. However, Goodreads doesn't have it logged as part of the series, but the first book is The Love Hypothesis, and I'm led to believe that we see a cameo of the relationship from The Love Hypothesis in Love Theoretically. This one in particular follows a main character called Elsie. Elsie is a theoretical physicist, and basically she's trying really hard to get this job, but her love interest, the broody, experimental physicist, gets in her way. Obviously that's the love interest, that is the pairing there. We see Elsie have to overcome not having a stable career, overcome the confusion that it is being attracted to the person who you think is stepping in your way career-wise, and I'm just very intrigued to read another Ali Hazelwood. I love Ali Hazelwood. I enjoy pretty much all of her books. I think I've only given one book 3 stars, but that's the first book on my list. For some reason, my phone camera just stopped filming, so if we're in a different angle, that is why. Next up on this, though, is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I'm actually in the middle of a mini readathon for this right this second, so the vlog that will come out either before this video or after this video, I will have a mini readathon for this, because I need to return it in 6 hours. This is a contemporary women's fiction. It follows 4 sisters. We've got Avery, Bonnie, Lucky, and Nikki. Avery is the eldest. She's a lawyer. She's dealing with the grief of having to step up into a mother's role when she was too young. We have Bonnie, who was a boxer but is the most emotionally available of all the sisters. We have Lucky, who is the youngest and is a rebellious model. And then we have Nikki. Now, Nikki has passed away. It's not a spoiler. It's in the blurb here. And basically all the sisters are trying to deal with their grief in their own ways, none of them being very successful about it, and then their parents decide to sell their childhood home, and the sisters I should say, the women, are all trying to figure out what to do with it, hold on to it, try purchase it themselves, let it go. It's a story about grief, it's a story about sisterhood, it's a story about losing yourself due to the loss of someone else. Oh, I should mention, I have chosen this bookmark to go with this book just simply because it is blue and I like how the colours complement each other. Let me actually get my bookmark jar and pop it up here. Do you like the little lotuses? My mum got them for me for my birthday. For Christmas, wow. One of my 2025 reading goals, I don't really do reading goals, but one of them is to diminish the amount of series I currently have ongoing, taking into account, I'm not really counting the series where the last book is yet to be released. I suppose the ongoing completed series I'm trying to diminish. I have a spreadsheet of them. The spreadsheet is not up to date by any means, but something that I am trying to get up to date on is Seanan McGuire's The Wayward Children series. This one is mislaid in parts half known. It is the second to last book in the series that is currently out. I have the very last book in the series on hold as well, and if that comes through during this month, this chapter of TBR, I will probably pick it up and read it straight away because they are short novels. You've probably heard of this series by now. It's a series where each installment follows a different child who has found themselves in a different world through a different small little doorway, but they are all brought together through this school, this home for the lost children, because of course once you've experienced something like going into a different universe, you can't really fit back in with regular Earth universe. So this one in particular follows, I believe, a new character. Oh, no, I got that wrong. We're following Antsy, who we have met before, who's has a talent for finding things. So this story follows her as she is forced to flee, looking for a way back to her world, which is called the shop where the lost things go, to be sure that the people who took over that shop are keeping their promise. So we have actually heard from this story before. I actually remember it. It's quite a good one, that one. Just good, fun, fantasy escapism. We've got dinosaurs on the cover. I take this very seriously. This one. There we go. That's the pairing so that the green matches. Do you see how the green now matches? Okay, love that. In the same vein of trying to get up to date on series, I have the last in the Inheritance Games series. This is The Hawthorne Brothers by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Admittedly, it is way bigger than I thought it would be. The rest of her novels in this series have been like 300 pages. This is a 450 pager. This is all about... Oh, I can't say much about the series because it will spoil what happens in the first novel, the first installment. But this is a series all about a main character who inherits a fortune and a mansion from ultimately a stranger. And the first book in the series follows her trying to figure out why she's inherited this mansion. Meanwhile, the actual family members of the stranger who passed away, who gave her the mansion, have to live in the house with her. And she has to live in the house for a year in order for it all to be hers. So it's kind of like a mystery YA. There's some romance thrown in. I have kind of read the original trilogy. This one, which is technically book 4 in the same series, no longer follows that main female character and instead is looking at some of the brothers, characters we've met before. It sounds like it might be a dual perspective kind of novel. I am intrigued. I am also slightly scared by the size of this novel, but that's okay. This one's bookmark. We've also got green. We've got a bit of gold. For this book, I'm going to pair it with this bookmark. It has this gold gilding, and I think it just complements it really well. Now, I did mention trying to diminish the series I have on the go, but that didn't stop me from picking up Feybound, which is the start of a new series. This novel I have had on my... Last year it was released in the January, February, March quarter, and it was released, and I've had my eyes on it for ages, and when it came available in the library, I just couldn't say no. This follows two sisters, Yiren and Letel. Now, Yiren is a warrior. She was born on the battlefield. She lives on the battlefield. She knew she would die in the battlefield. She's a warrior in an elven army. I believe that the two sisters are human, but get this the right way around. But Yiren is a battle warrior in the elven army, but she does something really naughty, really bad. She gets cast out, and her sister, who is like a diviner, is forced to go with her. This means that they go beyond the court, the lands that they grew up in, and they are thrust into this elven world, which has rules that they have no knowledge about. They get torn between themselves as sisters, between their love of their homeland and their new land. Apparently it's slightly seductive. Apparently it's also like quite terrifying. They encounter the Fey Court, who hasn't been seen in millennium. So honestly, I'm just really intrigued by Feybound, and the cover is gorgeous. I want to read it. Now, in terms of a bookmark, I immediately know I want to do this metal sword with like red what do you call it, tasseling? Yes, definite. Now, the last book I have here is something I've not read much of before at all, and it's, I don't know how to explain it, literary fiction. I know technically Blue Sisters is literary fiction, but it's more like women's literary fiction. This sounds like just straight up literary fiction. Now, I have seen this months, like every time I go to the library. For some reason, this book just stands out to me. And that kind of makes sense, because the reason I finally decided to pick it up is because it fits the criteria of this month's Buzzwordathon cover prompt. If you don't know Books and Lala, she's one of the OG booktubers that I ever watched. She's known for the creating the Buzzwordathon, but this year she's also done like a coverathon, and the cover prompt is patterns. Obviously, this ticks that criteria. It sounds kind of interesting in a weird way. We've got Archie, who is a film composer in New York, who has separated from his wife. His wife asked him to keep one promise. I'm guessing it's to go to the MoMA Museum, because that's where Archie ends up. When he is there, he walks into this performance that goes on for 75 days, and it's my belief that this book takes place within that whole performance of 75 days. He slowly watches and meets other people, and it basically is it sounds like it's going to be a slightly weird novel which questions art and life and beauty, and I have to say, I'm very intrigued. It also won a few prizes in 2017. In fact, it won 3 prizes in 2017, so hopefully it's good. I feel like this minimalistic white embossed one, doesn't draw away from the cover. That's it for physical books. The next ones I have are actually ebooks on my tablet. I kind of just want to whiz through these ones because a lot of them are sequels, trying to, like I say, diminish my series. The first book I have here is The Untold Story. This is by Genevieve Cogman and is book 8 in the Invisible Library series. And this follows our main character called Irene, who works for the library, which is a space between worlds. You've got elven worlds and dragon worlds. They're called chaos, and like you get high chaos worlds and high, I can't remember the other type of world. And it's just a really complex series in terms of the world building, and Irene's job is to try keep all the worlds at peace. It's a really intriguing story. If you like fantasy books, if you like books about books, if you like action, I highly suggest looking into it. I've thoroughly enjoyed reading this series, and I'm excited to see how it all wraps up. I then have Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the next book in like the Icebreaker series, which I believe is called the Maple Hills series. I might be wrong there, but it's a romance series where each novel focuses on a different couple. This one in particular follows Russ and Aurora. They meet at a college, and things end there. Basically, there's a one-night stand, apparently. I mean, this is what it says in the blurb. There's a one-night stand. They don't even think to exchange numbers. They've kind of lost each other until it turns out they are both working at the same summer camp that summer, where they meet each other again. Next, I have book two in the Cerulean Chronicles. This one is Somewhere Beyond the Sea. It comes after the Cerulean Sea. I can't even remember what it's called. The House in the Cerulean Sea. There we go. It came to me. So this is the second book in that series. I believe it's a duology. Let me actually check. Yeah, can confirm 2 books. It is a duology. We revisit our main character Arthur, who is the owner of an orphanage and is about to adopt 6 orphans. We've met them all in the previous novel. This novel follows the fact that Arthur has to start standing up for him and the children, because, by the way, all the children have like magical powers, which is why they're shunned. And a new child rocks up to the orphanage and I guess wants to be a part of that life, a part of that family. However, that child's power is in calling himself a monster, a name that Arthur worked so hard to protect his children from. And this sounds like we've got this beautiful home and now they're like fighting to keep it. I do remember the first book being a bit of a slower paced fantasy. It's definitely not like I suppose it's magical realism, isn't it? It's magical realism. I'll just leave it at that. Next we have Babel. I always want to read it as Babel, so please forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Please feel free to correct me. It's Oxford 1836, and basically there's this city of dreaming spires, and in the center of it all is like knowledge, I suppose, and power. At the center of that city is the Royal Institution of Translation called Babel. Wait, no, now babble makes more sense because you babble about. Okay, babble. Editing me here, but then you spell babble, B-A-B-B-L-E, right? If you're babbling. If anyone knows the lore of this name, can you please explain it to me? It's this tower that brings power to the institution, whatever the governing body is in this novel, because knowledge is power. In comes Robin Swift, who is an orphan, and they come to Babel, and they quickly learn that Babel is, whilst a wealth of knowledge, also a prison. I read R.F. Kuang's Yellow Face last year and quite enjoyed it, so I'm excited to delve into this one. Also, their Poppy War. It's all the same author, right? Poppy War I didn't love as much as Yellow Face. I'm intrigued by the concept of this one. Kind of naughtily, I then also have a book one of a series on this list. It was also one of my highly anticipated from last year, so when it was available, I borrowed it. That's what that noise was trying to convey there. I'm just going to read like the hook paragraph, okay? 5 ruthless killers, 5 deadly motives, 1 king who must die, 6 of crows meets Kill Bill. A feast of treason, seduction, set against a dazzling fantasy backdrop inspired by Korean myth and legend from the team behind fantasy phenomenon Fourth Wing. By that I think they just mean the publishing team behind Fourth Wing. But that's all I need to know going in. I've just done the maths. I've miscounted. I'm missing one. Oh. I'm going to my own very small collection of books. Can you tell what it is from back here? I have decided to reread Sarah J. Maas's book collection. Not just ACOTAR, Throne of Glass as well. This one you've probably heard of, so I'm really not going to delve into it. The bookmark I'm going to use... I think I just kind of want my real cheesy fantasy one. Reading fantasy to survive reality. The little mushroom and the black goes well. Yeah. If you're wondering why I want to do a reread, partially it's because when I first read this original ACOTAR trilogy at the time, it was 18. Like when they were coming out. I don't want to say I read them before the hype. They were definitely hyped, but read them before the Maas empire grew as big as it is. And I just want to reread them. I don't want to see if they hold up to how much I love them. I just want to reread them. So I'm going to try get through a Maas book once a month until I've reread all of them. Maybe I get carried away and want to immediately get into the next book in the series, or we shall find out. But that's my plan. I want to reread Sarah J. Maas's works. The only thing I don't have, and if you're still here, thank you so much, I need your help. The only thing I don't have is the buzzwordathon prompt. It's truth and lies. So the word truth or truthful or trust and or the word lie, lies, liar needs to be in the title of a book for Books and Lala's January buzzwordathon, the original thing. I can't find anything on my list that I want to read, okay? Like there's so many books with those kind of words in the titles, but they don't seem interesting to me. So I need your help. If you've got any recommendations, please let me know. But I've probably rambled longer than I ever intended to. At least hopefully it's under like 25 minutes. Next TBR will be a TBR game. Bring back the wheel of TBR. Thank you so much for making it to the end. If you're still here, please consider leaving a cheeky like and subscribe down below to help a small booktuber, YouTuber, a small channel grow. And if you want to let me know what your pick, like what you're reading this month or at the moment, I'm always so curious about what you guys are doing. Anyway, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Enjoy all the places you go in your own reading and life adventures, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.